Hola, hola, and welcome back to Voices, where we amplify Hispanic voices and celebrate the cultural roots driving professional success. At the end of August, Familia hosted a 2-day summit in Austin, Texas, uniting vibrant Hispanic and Latino leaders from across IBM. With a shared vision to shape our community's future, the event combined inspiration, empowerment, and hands-on collaboration. In today's episode, we're excited to share insights from some of the key executives and rising stars who attended the summit. First, you'll hear from Ron Castro, Catalina Caro, Suheli Fonseca, and Francisco Pelayo. Next, we'll hear from our summit hosts, Crystal Johnson and Mike Pera, followed by IBM's corporate controller, Nick Faring. Guiding us through this fantastic discussion is our very own Tony Poles. Stay tuned. This is one episode you won't want to miss.
Hello, and bienvenidos to this episode of Voces, the official Hola at IBM podcast that brings our Hispanic and Latino communities of IBM together to share authentic, accessible, and informal conversations, amplifying critical leadership messages on culture, career, well-being, business, and technology. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of IBM.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Voces, donde tu voz importa. Today, we are at Austin at the Hispanic Executive Council Summit and we're interviewing some of our very own Hispanic executive talent at IBM. And to start, we have a representative from Costa Rica. Hello Ron, how are you doing today?
Pura vida, Tori. All doing very well, thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Can you tell us a bit more about what you do at IBM?
So at IBM, I lead our own supply chain. So what that means is all the manufacturing operations, production, all the planning, demand and supply, inventory, end-to-end cost engineering. It's basically leading all of the management of the flow of goods from when we take an order all the way to when we deliver to an end client.
Amazing. And coming from Costa Rica, what impact role models have you had in your career?
That's a great question because I joined early in my career in IBM. I almost have 3 decades in IBM. And when I joined in Charlotte, North Carolina, in the bowels of a manufacturing plant or operation, right? And coming from Costa Rica, I was born and raised in Costa Rica. My perspective on career was very limited. And then when I looked around, there really weren't many people that talked like I did, had my background, etc. And I really didn't have this exposure and this perspective of a global environment, global culture, etc. And it really struggled the first few years. But I started to meet some folks, and some of the ones that made a real difference when I saw some Hispanics that had very senior leadership roles in IBM. And that opened my aperture, opened my perspective, gave me a view of the art of the possible, interacted with them, was mentored by them, and really helped me look at the value that my background, the diversity that I bring to the table, actually can drive in IBM for our clients. So that was for me a game changer, looking at those folks that had made it and how they had made it and how they leverage their own heritage to drive value, right?
Now we have Catalina Caro with us, representing from Colombia. Catalina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. This is exciting.
Amazing. Can you share with us a little bit more what do you do at IBM?
Yeah, I am a corporate social responsibility manager for the Northeast. So at IBM, CSR, or corporate social responsibility, really has 3 pillars. The first one being workforce development and education, so working with partners on the ground to implement skills build. We've made a goal to upskill 30 million learners by 2030, and so really that is our goal, and we do that through skills build. The second pillar is around employee volunteerism. So when you go to your office and you see an event, that's usually our team. And then the third is our sustainability work. So through CSR, we work on sustainability accelerators. I specifically work with the United Nations Development Program to create a green energy index for countries in Africa to think about how they're using their energy and power and whatnot. And so all 3 of those fall under my scope of work. But I lead that work in the Northeast, so Maine through Virginia.
Amazing, amazing. Now we have Suheli with us, representing from Puerto Rico. How are you doing, Suheli?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, awesome. Do you mind telling us a bit more what you do at IBM?
Of course. So, as you said, my name is Soheili Fonseca. I work for our organization called Multi-Cloud SaaS Platform that is under IBM Software, where we basically take IBM software offerings and make them available to the public in an easy way. We standardize, we provide a common set of tooling, so we make things easy so that the IBM SaaS product can get into the hyperscaler marketplace. Within my organization, what I basically do is I'm a software engineer manager, so I lead that team, I work with people, I drive to a common mission, but at the same time, I'm the technical leader of the DevOps strategy, so defining the architecture, defining our milestone, defining our goals, and I do release management, so making sure we deliver on time.
Amazing. That sounds fantastic. Question for you. How have you brought your story or your full self to your workplace?
So this is an interesting question because when I started, it was a different story. I was not being my full self. I was like limiting myself. I was thinking too much before doing the actual things. But when we think about it, we're Latinos. We need to embrace our identity. And the only way we can make true impact or we can get people together is by being ourselves. So when I started doing that, embrace my identity, be myself, I started, in a way, bringing the light inside me out. I started getting into people to know me, getting people together, getting people to, in a way, appreciate the strengths that I have as a Latino, as a woman, and make a real impact. So I think when you truly realize the value that we have as Latinos, the value that who we are makes into what we do is when you can reach the limit. You don't have limits. You can reach the sky.
That's a great question. So I'll give you an example that happened, I guess, midway through my career of how my culture actually helped open doors, right? So I had been in different roles in the U.S. Some of them were global, so I was already starting to get a bit of a global perspective. But there was this role in Latin America. And I decided to go talk with the leader. And the fact that I knew the culture, the fact that I spoke Spanish, and could easily learn Portuñol, so a mixture of Spanish and Portuguese, she gave me the opportunity to go actually lead and build an organization in Latin America. So it was a great experience. I had the opportunity to live in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It was just an amazing opportunity, which, it was open because of my culture, the language, etc. But I also leveraged a lot of the skills that as Hispanics were multicultural, right? Being able to integrate, understand how the region worked better, and had a very successful move there. And it actually helped lead to my first executive assignment, right? And ever since then, I really embrace what we bring to the table as Hispanics, as Latinos, make it a value for us, drive better value to our clients, IBMers, and just really bring your authentic self to work. It makes an impact, makes a difference.
Yeah, so yo soy colombiana, nací en
Amazing.
Bogotá. I moved to the U.S. when I was 6 years old. I saw all of the sacrifices that my parents made to move us to the U.S. It was meant to be a 2-year stint that turned into a 4-year stint that has now become a 30-plus year stint. And so all of those sacrifices that my parents made have really shaped my career. So I started in the nonprofit sector, working in education and then workforce development, and thinking about how I could give back to the community, to the folks that weren't as lucky as me. And so that really kind of shaped the beginning of my career. And then I moved into global education and then sustainability. And then when I came to IBM, this corporate social responsibility role really combined all three of those areas that we do with the passions that I had already been doing in the nonprofit sector. So my Hispanic heritage has really formed my entire career.
Now we have Francisco Pelayo with us from Caracas, Venezuela. How are you doing today, Francisco?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Amazing, amazing. Do you mind telling us a bit more what do you do at IBM?
I'm in marketing and communications. I work in corporate communications, and I lead the global portfolio for the government industry and communications, external relations, PR, all that fun stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is a very interesting question. What is your superpower?
My superpower is listening. Sometimes it's overrated, and people want just to get out of the things that they're doing and continue with the day, the life. But I think that sitting down for a few minutes and listening can make a huge difference, not only in building relationships, but also understanding business priorities, where we're headed. How can we, in my personal capacity, how can I add value by really understanding by listening to other people.
I really, really resonate with that. There is a saying on that says, there is a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That's right.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Well, I will give that advice to my younger self or anybody else who's in their early career. Everything is going to be okay. Just continue putting your effort and put your head down and work, and everything will be okay. Sometimes when you're young, you're really concerned about reaching certain milestones or goals at certain ages or doing certain things at certain point, and it's not necessary to have that stress. Life will develop and show itself as you go, and it's okay to reassess and start again all over.
So I will say that I always have this thought on my mind, and it's my motto of life. I say that we own the canvas of our life. We can paint on them as much as we can. So we put ourselves on the limits. Nobody else, it's just us. So if you know that there are no limits, you know that your life, you own that canvas, you can do whatever you want. You just need to be fully dedicated to that. Put yourself goals. Work hard because nothing will come easily. But if you do that, you could get as far as you want.
I think there's a lot of generational advice. When I was growing up, my parents were like, put your head down, do the work, it'll get noticed, and that's kind of how you move up. But I think that's very different to how it really works in corporate America now. You have to learn to toot your own horn and really talk about the work that you're doing, showcase how you're doing it. So I would tell my younger self to maybe be a little bit more vocal to get the credit that I deserved for the things that I did. It's really easy to just say, if you do the work, it'll speak for itself. But sometimes it needs a little push or a conversation with the right person to really take you to the next level. And so both learning to talk about the work that you do and having conversations with peers and people ahead of you to think about your career and where you're going has been really helpful.
Next in line, we have our fabulous Crystal Johnson. It's an honor to have you here with us. How are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous.
Amazing. I love to hear. Do you mind sharing with the audience, what do you do at IBM?
Yeah, so I have the privilege and honor of supporting Wells Fargo as my day job. So my official title is Technology Managing Director, but my non-official title is absolute person that wants to delight, focus, and bring exceptional client experiences.
I love it. I love it. Experience matters. So I really enjoy what you said. Could you share some of the great things you've done to support diversity and inclusion at IBM?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity of getting involved in what we now call Familia at IBM probably over a decade ago. And I'm really proud of some of the things that we've done. Back when I started, it was really, my focus was around mentorship. And so I'm proud of being able to mentor folks both within IBM, but externally too. So I'm a part of high tech, and I have for many years now mentored people that are within the executive program within high tech. So I'm proud of those things. One of the things that I think I'm most proud of is recently, as co-chair of the Familia Executive Council, we intentionally changed the name of the council from Hispanic Executive Council to Familia Executive Council because we really want all of our community, the Latinos and Latinas, that whether you identify and you are Spaniard or you're Portuguese or you're Brazilian or Latin, in whatever way, we want you to feel included.
Amazing. And what impact do you hope your leadership will have in future generations?
In future generations, I mean, just simply put, I really want everyone that is a part of Familia and those that are not, all of our allies, to appreciate the diversity, the energy, the passion, the perspective that Familia brings, so that everyone that identifies as Latina, Latino, and as a part of Familia can bring their full selves to work every day, and that is inclusion.
Now we have been blessed with the presence of our very own Mike Pera. How are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing great. Even better knowing now that you're blessed.
Amazing.
I'm not sure that's for me, but good nonetheless.
Absolutely. So, do you mind sharing a bit more about what do you do at IBM?
Yeah, so I'm the managing director for SAP and Palo Alto at IBM.
Amazing. One question for you. What initiative have you implemented around diversity and inclusion at IBM?
Well, I think the one that I'm probably most proud of is a sponsorship program. And that was about focusing on top talent that was just shy of being an executive and helping to be not just a mentor, but also sponsor those people to get to an executive level and then ultimately be successful. And that's one that's very personal, as there's an individual directly attached to it or a number of individuals directly attached to it, and having seen them not just make executive, but then consistently get promoted after, be very successful in their career, and having an impact for IBM was extremely fulfilling.
Beautiful. And what advice would you give to your younger self?
I think it's really about get engaged. Right? For me, and I think for many of us who are first or second generation Hispanic, in corporate America at least, we've tended to hide more than really jump in with both feet and embracing who we are. And I think for me, with the Hispanic community, I wasn't very involved and I wasn't very active for quite a while. And then I got to the point in my career where I realized that I could have an impact, take a leadership role, and also give back to the community. And as a result of that, I look back and think, how much more could I have done much earlier in my career, and how much bigger of an impact could I have had as a result?
Now we have Nick with us. How are you doing today?
Dude, Tony, I'm doing awesome, man. I am super energized, not just to be here, part of the podcast, part of your podcast, but also just coming off of what we've been doing for the last day and a half as a Hispanic executive leadership team. There is so much talent in the room. You guys, by the way, are a huge part of that. Beautiful. But there's so many people like you that have the skills, have the energy, that are coming together and creatively aligning around a shared sense of purpose of, how we build upon what's been established as a great community in La Familia, and take that to the next level. So I'm buzzing a bit here, buddy.
You are gonna make me cry, sir.
You got a low bar,
right?
That's all right. I do too, man.
Absolutely. So, do you mind telling us a bit more about what do you do at IBM?
Yeah, so I'm IBM controller right now, and without getting into all the details of what that means, I just distill it down very simply. I've got the opportunity, the privilege really, and the responsibility to help lead and shepherd forward this great company, right? For this generation, for our generation. It's a 113-year-old business, phenomenal company throughout its history. And this generation now, I get to be in the epicenter of helping steer it and lead it forward for success. That means everything from how we set our strategy, how we focus ourselves, how we make investment decisions, how we allocate capital to get a little bit financy, and yeah, how we execute.
Absolutely.
So I'm 23 years into the business. I'm here for that whole time, and I'm still going to be here going forward because of the high bar of aspiration that we set for ourselves, right?
Awesome.
I mean, we don't do easy stuff, man. We're not just a technology company. We harness technology to bring value to our clients. That's a real high ambition we set. That's energizing. It's still 23 years in, fueling me. And there's a lot of excitement in this place, right?
Amazing.
Our speed of execution, how we're going at things, the boldness that we're acting with is like first time in a long time where how we're acting, how we're moving, the pace that we're going is at the level of that ambition that we set for ourselves. So it's a great place to be.
Amazing. Now, I know you're half Mexican and half German. So you really embody the concept of diversity, right? So what's the importance of diversity in your field and for the company?
Yeah. So cool. That's a really good question. Let me just start, and I'd start from like my worldview and perspective, right? And the way I would say it is, I come from a privileged background, and what I mean by that, I had a safe home, a secure home, good education, parents that drove the hell out of me, set me on the right track. But you said it, like I've got a Mexican-American mother, I've got a German-American father. And for us, diversity wasn't something we put up with. It wasn't even something that was like a goal or ambition. It was just who we were. It was intrinsic to like the family unit that they built. And I think like a lot of kids, when you're growing up, you don't have that appreciation of what your parents did for you. Reflecting back now, I mean, it was, I'm sure, not easy for them. Two very different backgrounds coming together and building for my sisters and I, that sort of experience, that worldly view, that value and that intrinsic understanding of diversity, hugely blessed, right? Mm-hmm. So I take that experience, I take that gift that they gave me, and I said before, I'm here with IBM for 23 years because of the ambition we set, the goals we set, the challenges we give ourselves. That's part of the answer. The bigger piece, frankly, is it's a people, but it's the community that is IBM, right? No family, no team, no community, no organization, no company is wholly effective unless it is open, it's inclusive, it brings together a diversity of perspective in order to collaborate and innovate, right? And that, I think, is sort of inherent to the culture of IBM. Have we always gotten it right? No. Are we perfect? No. Do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. But we understand that. It's who we are. And that's really the purpose that keeps me here and drives me moving forward.
Amazing. And what initiative have you implemented or will you implement or support to promote diversity and inclusion at IBM?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna end where we started, right? With the energy that I feel right now. I know you're feeling it too.
Of course.
And it's not so much, it's not like the look back of what we've accomplished. We've done a lot. We've done a lot to establish La Familia as like a community, a support of openness, of bringing people together. That's a phenomenal foundation. We've done a lot within like the finance community as well to support diversity and inclusion. But it's not about what we've done. It's about like the agenda that we've laid out here and where we're going, right? This is about redefining and taking what membership or participation in the community means, taking it forward. It's about helping define for everyone like the basic understanding that being part of IBM, being an IBMer, doesn't start day one when you're onboarded with a job. It's about the difference between a job and establishing a career. And how do we help the community know what that means, learn and build a career to be part of this great company that we call IBM, right? It's the networking, it's the skills building and development, it's the career opportunities that are diverse and dynamic, and it's getting to work on projects that are meaningful in the day job that you have, but also working on things that are cross-functional in nature that matter to the outcome of IBM overall. So there's a lot to come here. Get ready, everybody, because here we come. And that sounds like a line from what's that movie? The Greatest Showman or whatever. That's a pretty corny way to end, but that's what it sounded like.
Awesome. That was a beautiful end. Thank you so much for the support and all the energy you bring to the Familia. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Nick,
All the best.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Voces. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify channels. You can find us as Voces so you don't miss any new episodes.